welcome back to the Afternoon Express Kitchen. Now we are celebrating, counting down the days before we hit the big one, and I'm talking about Valentine's Day. Are you much of a romantic, Zandi?
I'd love to think so. I'd love to think so.
Well, this is for all of the lovers and the romantics out there. A red velvet cake is soft, light and airy crimson red and a perfect Valentine's Day treat. For that extra moistness, we use that Clover Bliss double cream yogurt and topped it off with cream cheese frosting. Love at first bite.
Yes, if you are looking for something truly decadent, something truly gorgeous, something truly amazing to make and to serve this Valentine's Day, it is this red velvet cake. Not only because it celebrates love, but because it uses our truly decadent Clover Bliss double cream yogurt. I mean, if this is not true decadence, I don't know what is. Because it basically takes our cake to another level. Where you say, I love you, it says, I love you
times
and beyond, basically. And it starts off with this base here that we're going to make. We've got our dry ingredients here. I've got my flour, my sugar. I've also got some cocoa powder here because it normally starts off like a chocolate cake and we add the red velvet or the red food coloring to it, and then some salt and baking powder. So I'm going to mix these dry ingredients together. I've got baking powder. I've also got some salt in there. Then our cocoa powder goes in there. So as you know, normally with baking, you'd want to start with the dry and then mix that together and then add it to the wet ingredients. My wet ingredients are just my oil. I've also got some eggs in here. And remember, I spoke about the decadence. This is where the decadence comes in. We're going in with our Clover Bliss. And you know what it does is that it enhances the flavor of your red velvet cake. Most times a red velvet cake can be just bland, where people ask what exactly is red velvet. It needs something to carry it, and this is where our Clover Bliss comes in.
And on your side, Zandi, as the foodie in the loft today, if you just tuned in, we have got East London born and raised foodie Zandi. Now, Zandi, you have just been such a treat to be with the entire show, but now we're creating a different type of treat, a red velvet cake. And as someone who's not much of a baker, do you know what you're doing, girl?
I'm freestyling, honestly.
No, we're joking. We actually put you on the easy station, and you're icing and decorating.
Yes. So I think we're going to go in with this. This is icing, vanilla icing. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's our cream cheese icing.
Cream cheese icing.
In there we've got the normal butter, we've got sugar, but we've added some cream cheese, and most people know that red velvet goes with some cream cheese frosting. I think I've seen it, most times it's either a carrot cake or red velvet that have the cream cheese frosting.
Stunning. What else are you going to top it off with?
There's some fresh strawberries, there's some chocolates, so it's going to look all nice and fresh and all Valentine's treat. So I'm looking excited to see the final product.
Now look, Valentine's Day isn't only for the lovers, it's also for mom, dad, it is for your siblings, it's for your girls. You know, I do like a good Galentine's Day, and this is something so simple to me that anyone can try at home.
Very.
But something that's overwhelming for me, and I don't know about you, Zandi, that's a little intimidating, is red velvet. Like, what is red velvet? A flavor? Is it a fruit? How do we create that red velvet texture and taste?
Most people didn't know this. Most people used to think that red velvet is like a type of flavor. You're actually right, but people think that it's, you buy red velvet like you'd buy chocolate and it's not really that. Red velvet is the color that goes into that. And before, back in the day, it used to be done with beetroot, but we've come far as a people. So now we can actually use the normal crimson red food coloring in there, and that goes into your cake batter and you mix it all together. So I've started adding my my wet and dry ingredients into the wet, and we're going to mix everything together. And even though I've said we're using our Clover Bliss, the plain one, you can even swap it out and use the actual red velvet flavor, or even the choc chip flavor. That would definitely still work the same as well.
Got you. Okay, so there's quite a lot that goes into creating the perfect red kind of red velvety goodness. Now, when putting this together, is it different from any other cakes that we've created in the past?
In essence, it is important, like we always say, this is where Zandi would come in because she's the numbers girl. It is important to make sure you follow step by step when it comes to baking. Unlike, you know, savory hot kitchen cooking where you just eyeball it. With baking, it is always important to follow to the T and just make sure that you go with those numbers. So if anything, I would say just follow the recipe, especially when it comes to cakes.
Something very important to remember is, number one, do not over-mix your batter. You cannot over-mix your batter. Do not over-mix it because it's going going to be a disaster. You have to weigh and measure everything that you do when it comes to a cake. Here on our side, we've used a certain size of your tin.
Yes.
So if you do follow us on afternoonexpress.co.za, you're only able to, you'll get basically the measurements for a 20 centimeter tin. However, if you want to make a smaller one, then you just have to reduce your measurements, reduce the quantity, because then that will be perfect for whatever size, shape your family or your loved ones are celebrating this Valentine's Day.
Zandi, are you a big cake girl or a small cake girl? So is it the muffins or the actual big cake?
Big cake. Has to be. The real deal.
Okay, my cake is nicely not over-mixed, Bali. It's just basically come together, and now this is the time for us to bake it. It goes into the oven to bake at 180 degrees for 35 minutes. But like we say, ovens differ, so it is important to make sure that you go according to your recipe so it cooks right. If you stick a skewer in there and it comes out clean, then you know that your cake is ready.
Well, this is delicious. That topping definitely looks friendly. You did speak about presentation. Do you give yourself a 10 out of 10?
11 out of 10.
Ooh, that's my girl. And if you want to give yourself an 11 out of 10 in the kitchen, simply head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. A sweet lover's treat. Now we are asking you, who says vanilla has to be boring? Coming up, we're going to be bumping it up with a generous helping of white chocolate and other tasty fillings.
With the creamy decadence of double cream bliss from Clover, yogurt has never been so irresistible.
Made with love by Clover.